You know, it was a beautiful morning. The sun was shining, and it had rained a couple days before, and it just looked like it was going to be the perfect day. And we got to the synagogue, and there were just so many people there that were family, friends, and relatives, and it just seemed like everything was going to be perfect. And it seemed to go well. I mean, what I remember of the ceremony, it went just like it was supposed to go, and then it came to an end, and as the guests were leaving and I was standing outside, that's when it really changed. Guests were leaving, and I was outside saying goodbye. Actually, I was showing off a wristwatch that I had gotten for my bar mitzvah to a friend, and he was waiting for his parents to pick him up. And people were just streaming out of the synagogue, leaving, and most were saying, "We'll see you later tonight at the dinner." And that's when the shots rang out.
So what did you hear and what did you see?
It sounded like firecrackers. The movie or television sound of shots is a lot different than in reality. And it sounded like some firecrackers. And all of a sudden, I saw people just hitting the deck. They were on the ground. Gerald Gordon had fallen backwards and grabbed his stomach. He was kind of a prankster, and at first I thought it was him just playing a joke. But it was serious.
And how far away from Jerry were you? I mean, were you within a good sight line of it?
Oh, yeah, I was within 15 feet, 20 feet. It's, my memory was a lot further, but for the first time in many years, I've been back to Brith Sholom in the last couple of years, and realized that, my memory of the distance, as time went on, the distance grew longer, but it really was a lot closer than.
And when you saw Jerry, were his kids with him? I know he had a wife.
His wife and kids were right there.
Were right near him?
Yeah.
Okay. And when did you know it was? Did you know just then that it was super serious?
When his wife came over to me, and she had blood on her, and she was screaming that he's been shot, and I immediately went inside to try and get somebody to get on the telephone to call an ambulance.
How soon before you remember ambulance and police arriving?
That was the days before cell phones.
Right.
So, everything was still regular landline telephones,
right.
And Brith Sholom being a conservative synagogue, the telephones weren't available. We had to find somebody who had a key to get into an office to make the phone call, and it took several minutes for that to happen.
Yeah. How did it? When did you know that he had passed away? That he had in fact been shot and killed?
Later that afternoon, the reporters started calling the house.
You didn't know who was the shooter was or what had happened.
We had no idea what was going on at that point.
It could be. Was it there at any point where the police or anyone thought that it could in fact be a neo-Nazi out to kill Jews?
I don't remember that as being the first thought. We were pretty naive as a society and as a Jewish community. We thought we were insulated from something like that. The first thought was that maybe it was something to do with organized crime, because there were some criminal lawyers who were very active in Brith Sholom at the time.
And then in the days and weeks that followed, what kind of effect did it have on you? Did people rally around you, or did you feel as if people pulled away? Do you remember much about that?
I remember it was very socially isolating. There was really no support system built in for those types of events. The schools didn't know how to respond. The kids didn't know how to respond. Their parents didn't know how to respond. And because nobody knew for certain what the purpose of the crime was, You know, there were kids' parents who were afraid to let their kids around me. They didn't know if they'd be safe or not.
Mhm. What about getting some help? I mean, that was I know back in the 70s, therapy wasn't something that people did that often. Did you seek help, or did you get any help to try to deal with maybe some of the issues that were surrounding?
It certainly
that?
would have been something that would have been nice to have had. My parents I don't know if they understood that there were services available.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what their, you know, what was going through their mind. But the stigma, they felt the stigma attached to a child going into therapy was reflective on their inability to be good parents.
Mm-hmm. Were you able to talk to your parents about the incident?
No.
Did you attend the funeral of Mr. Gordon?
No, my parents wouldn't allow me to attend.
So did you ever feel like you got any closure from the incident?
Many, many years. It took many years.
Well, and in fact, it was many years, about 20 years after the bar mitzvah that, or about 15, 20 years after, that they actually figured out that it was Joseph Paul Franklin, who was a neo-Nazi, who had done the shooting.
You know, he had been suspected within a couple of years of the incident. I remember the major case squad, one of the lieutenants at Richmond Heights, mentioning his name and having photographs of him at the Nazi rally that took place in St. Louis that same day. And I remember a variety of newspaper articles naming him as the suspected killer